Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Feel free to write to me at walkwithtak@gmail.com if you have any question regarding to this video. The goal of my YouTube channel is to use the fast cooking system, which stands for flavor chasing, advanced prepping, stir frying, and template-based cooking, to help you to make home cooking as part of your daily routine. Broccoli and chicken is probably one of the most iconic stir-fry dish. You will find this dish in almost all Chinese American restaurants. Now, most of the time, people use chicken breast, but in this video, I'm going to demonstrate you how to use chicken tender instead. One of the most sought-after flavor characteristics in stir-frying is what is known as wok chi. Now, wok chi is that the food ingredients, if it come under high heat, it will undergo charring. The end result is that it provides almost a grilled-like smoky flavor and gives the dish a unique characteristics. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create wok chi in this chicken and broccoli stir-fry dish. I'm going to first coat the chicken with my Walk with Tak basic seasoning mix. This will provide the chicken's great umami flavor. And then I'm going to add a small amount of sugar. The sugar will create an important part in causing caramelization of the chicken to provide better flavor. And then this then coated with a thin layer of cornstarch. Cornstarch actually is really effective. Not only can create a light breading on the surface of chicken, but it can also keep the chicken moist and tender. Now, this method is frequently known as dry marinating or dry rub. Instead of using any type of moisture, this will cause the chicken to become more dry. And the end result is that it provides better searing because it will not reduce the temperature of the oil when you start to the stir frying process. The broccoli that I purchased is already come in floret. It comes in a bag and it has been washed and ready to be steamed. But the first thing I do is that I lay it out for it to dry. And then I cut them to the size that is suitable for stir frying. This is essential because you want the pieces about the same size. And then you can store it in the refrigerator. Now, the broccoli has really excellent shelf life. It will last for up to 7 days to 10 days. I'm going to use my Cuisinart 14-inch stainless steel wok to cook this dish. This is my everyday wok. I use it for all different types of cooking in addition to stir frying. The important thing about this wok is that you need to season it properly. And I use my spot seasoning method, which is very simple. I heat up the oil until it starts to smoke gently. I let it smoke for about 15 seconds, then I am ready to cook. The method that I'm going to use to cook the chicken actually is a combination. I'm going to use two methods combined in one. The first part of the cooking process is referred to as shallow frying. So in this case, all I have to do is to lay out the chicken in a fat layer on the surface of the wok. This wok is excellent for this purpose because it has a large flat surface area. It is just enough for me to cook about 8 ounces of chicken to lay out on the surface of the wok. This will allow me to fry the chicken on one side, and this method is frequently known as shallow frying. Because the chicken has been coated with cornstarch, the result of the frying process actually is very similar to deep frying because the cornstarch will create a light breading on the surface of the chicken. And since the chicken also contains the basic seasoning mix, which contains onion flakes as well as sugar, it will cause the chicken to first caramelize. Now, if you cook the chicken a little bit longer, it will start to char. And the end result is that it provides almost a grilled-like appearance. The flavor actually also grilled-like in texture. This is a unique process to cook the chicken. Frequently, you will call it actually achieves what is known as wok chi, which is a smoky flavor to the food ingredients. Now the chicken is almost done. I'm going to use my wok spatula to stir fry it. This brief stir frying will allow me to cook all the chicken pieces as evenly as possible. Using this shallow fry method, I create great flavor and texture of the chicken. So I'm going to set it aside. Now I'm going to cook the second part of this dish. This method is frequently known as combinatorial stir frying. Basically, I separate the two cooking process for the chicken and then for the vegetables. Now the vegetables, I'm going to start out with some onion. The onion will play an important role, will provide a nice aroma for the dish. And this is one advantage of advanced prepping because I already have the onions in my advanced prepping, so I can use just whatever I need and don't have to worry about waste the rest because I can use it for other dishes. The next step is that I'm going to add the broccoli. Now the amount of broccoli that I use actually determined by what is the purpose of the dish. As you can see here, I use quite a bit of broccoli to cook this dish. The reason is that the broccoli is considered to be the primary ingredients of this dish. That's why it has the most significant amount. Whereas the onions is the secondary ingredient. It mainly used to flavor the dish. That's why I only use a small amount of onion. The forehead of the broccoli is hungry for oil, so I add additional oil because whatever oil that is still left on the surface of the wok has been absorbed by the broccoli. Now, if I do not have enough oil in the wok, then the likelihood for the broccoli to get burned is going to be much higher. So make sure that you have enough oil. Now, once you have enough oil, you can actually stir fry this at the highest setting of your burner. As long as you keep stirring and have enough oil, the broccoli will not get burned. Now, there are many different ways to cook the broccoli. One of the common ways is that to blanch them, which means that boiling them in water. Now, when you stir fry the broccoli, the end result is very different because when you stir fry them, the heat will penetrate into the forehead, but not into the stem itself. So it gives the broccoli a much crispier and crunchy texture in comparison when you boil them. But then you can control the texture of the broccoli by adding some water. Now the water will actually turn into steam. So in this part of the cooking process, you actually steaming the broccoli. The end result is that the steam penetrates the broccoli much better than oil. So the fiber of the broccoli can be softened and you can control how much steam that you're going to add, how long you want to steam them, and the broccoli's texture will directly able to suit how you like it. Next, I'm going to season the broccoli first with oyster sauce, which I consider to be my foundational sauce, and then I add a small touch of hoisin sauce. These two sauces, I refer them to be the basic sauce because they lay the foundation of the flavor, and then you can make adjustments subsequently. For example, I'm going to add some sugar because I would like to have this dish a little bit on the sweeter side, a more resembling of a teriyaki flavor. But however, you can make adjustment accordingly based on how you like the dish. And to create a light sauce, I just add a small amount of water. You can add as much or as little water that you want. And this is the flexibility in stir frying, which you can make many changes as you cook. And next, I add the chicken that I cooked earlier to the dish, and I'm going to stir fry everything together, basically to mix them and then make sure that all the flavor penetrate through all the ingredients. The advantage of this method is that because you can retain both the flavor and texture of the chicken which was cooked by shallow frying, but the broccoli and the other vegetables are cooked slightly differently and they're softer in texture. So this will create a contrast between the chicken and the vegetables. Now, you probably can cook everything together or at the same time, but in this case, you might not have the distinctiveness of the differences in flavor. But however, different people like it differently. And for me, I use both methods because sometimes if I want to cook the dish faster, I might combine everything together. But if I have time and I want to have more distinct characteristics of the different flavors, then I will use this combinatory approach. Now this dish is a template because instead of use chicken, you can use other type of proteins. For example, you can use pork, you can use beef, fish, or shrimp. In fact, you can even use tofu. And by using this method, you can make substitutions and create many diversity. Cooking the broccoli can also be applied to cook other vegetables that are similar to the broccoli. For example, cauliflower will be very similar in how you will cook it. Other adjustment that you can make is that instead of serving it with rice, you can serve it with noodles, or you can even serve it with a naan. So the last step of this dish is that I'm going to garnish it with some sesame seed. Sesame seed will add flavor as well as texture to the dish. But furthermore, sesame seed will provide an excellent highlight of the different ingredients in the dish and make the dish more appealing. So when you consider this as a template, you will see how different applications can be based on this template. The advantage of the template is to provide you with the flexibility that you can create many variations by making sometimes very simple substitutions. In my personal home cooking, I find that the most important factor is that home cooking has to be flexible and adaptable. And in order to achieve that, home cooking has to be practical, efficient, creative, as well as fun. If you'd like to learn more about my fast cooking system, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. So keep on cooking, and I will see you tomorrow.